the Detroit Tigers. This has been a good team all season long. And then the story broke recently about these executives and some of the broadcasters being involved with these sexual, antics off scene of baseball. I mean, Detroit and the Tigers, you would have expected them to make a real big run. I thought they had everything. They have one of the best pitchers in baseball. You can argue he is the best pitcher in baseball. You have a young lineup as good as they have been all season. You had five players make the All-Star team this year on this Detroit Tigers team. They were unstoppable. I mean, Gleyber Torres looked like he was going to get paid a lot of money in the offseason and then has completely fallen off in the second half, especially in the last, I would say, 20 games. Gleyber Torres has not been very good. I don't know what's going on with the Detroit Tigers, but the Guardians, we've seen this before. I'm not surprised the Guardians made a run like this. The Guardians are very well managed. You could argue they have the best manager in baseball. They always have a good pitching staff, and their pitching staff somehow figures it out in the second half. If you look at the Cleveland Guardians' record in the second half in the last 3 seasons, you can argue this is the best team in baseball in the second half. If you look at their record in the last 3 years, it's remarkable. And I know Job is going to talk about Jose Ramirez and how he is a game-changing player. He's one of the most underrated players in the league. It's proving it right now. You're not going to be talking about him as an MVP candidate, but if you look at his numbers in the second half, especially what he's done, not only being in a lineup,
he'll be in the top 5 like he usually is.
Yeah, but he's not going to win it. It's going to one or the other guy, one or the other. We've been speaking about,
right.
But the fact is Jose Ramirez. You can see why he is such a special player. You can see why the Guardians are making a run like they are. They're dangerous. As we look at their record, we talk about the Yankees, and I know we haven't spoken enough about the Yankees. Congratulations to Aaron Boone. I don't care what anybody says about Aaron Boone and how bad of a manager this man is. If you look at the Yankees' record in the last 60 games, he has one of the best. The Yankees have one of the best records in baseball. And for all the pitching woes they've had, Devin Williams just absolutely being so bad in the first half. Go look at Devin Williams' numbers in the last 20 games. Look at this pitching staff in the last 20 games. Since Max Fried came back from that blister, Max Fried you can argue, is not only a Cy Young candidate, he's been the best pitcher in baseball since he's come back from that blister injury. It's been remarkable. This team, Aaron Judge said it best yesterday after winning and getting in, and they could win the division still. Crazy as it may sound, Toronto had a 6-game lead a week and a half ago, and there was no way in hell that the Yankees were going to win the division. And tonight, the Yankees just tied the I'm sorry, not the Detroit Tigers,
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays for first place in their division. The Yankees could absolutely win the division, as Aaron Judge said yesterday after getting in. I think this Yankee team is flying high in the perfect time. Bellinger's hitting, Judge is hitting, this whole roster's hitting, and they're getting the pitching that they need in the bullpen. They're going to be a hard out. It's crazy to say this because I didn't think that the Yankees could really cut it. And over the last 55 games, the Yankees have been the best team, or you could argue top 3 team right now in baseball. Congratulations to Aaron Boone for all the people that were taking shots at him and saying that he's done, he needs to be fired. Yankee fans, you could choke up whatever you want. I've loved Aaron Boone. I've stuck up for Aaron Boone. I didn't like him this year. I thought he was going to get fired at the end of the year, but what a remarkable 50 games Aaron Boone has as a manager. Congratulations to him. And I'm not surprised about the Mets and the Tigers because I believe the Cleveland Guardians are as dangerous as a second-half team as any team in baseball. So congratulations. If the Guardians pull this one off, remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
When you look at the Tigers, I think it's kind of a tale of two seasons. Like last year, you looked at, they started off awful, and then they got hot at the right time. And this year is like, holy cow, is anybody going to beat the Tigers with, the best record in baseball at one point? Yeah. And then it turned into, holy crap, we've got Scooble, and that's about it. It literally went, I talked to my people from Detroit, it went from wanting to go to every game. Now you're just going when Scooble throws, and that's just kind of the way their season turned around. And then, I mean, the Guardians with what they are, it shouldn't surprise anybody at this point when they always make a run, no matter where they're at. They've always been the underdog just because they don't really ever have a huge name. I mean, it's just obviously I love Jose Ramirez and what he is, and he doesn't fly under the radar, as much as he used to, because everybody's like, all right, let's stop talking about him as underrated, because he's not.
We're looking at the complete downfall of some of these teams, but we have to look at what some of these teams have done in the last 50 games, and that's why I had to add the Aaron Judge New York Yankees, because I think a lot of people counted the Yankees, including me. I counted the Yankees
yeah,
out.
I was about to say, dude, you were ripping the Yankees all season.
I counted the Yankees out. I really did. I didn't think they had enough. And honestly, as much as people hate Brian Cashman, Joba Chamberlain, Brian Cashman made the moves that he needed to at the trade deadline, and they finally are starting to look like they're working. And again, I know a lot of Yankee fans think Brian Cashman has weighed out his welcome. He shouldn't be here anymore.
What he did was he built up a nice cushion lead in the AL East at the trade deadline. He said, you know what? Let me go expend all these guys, get back these major league all-stars. I know it takes a little bit of time for them to break into New York and learn how to pitch there. So I have that buffer of a few games of leading the East. And now that they've broken in, they know how to pitch in New York. They know how to handle the pressure. Now you're seeing the fruits of your labor. Absolutely genius.
Actually, I just saw a stat that said teams with the amount of days in first place to miss the playoffs, 173 with the Tigers, and the last team to do it was the Mets at 178 in 2007.
Wow.
Another one you would probably want to throw in there too is like historic. If the Tigers do hang on, it would be the Astros too.
I don't think the Tigers hang on. I think the Guardians are going to win the Central. I do. I think the Tigers are going to fall completely flat.
I told you they're good. There's they hit this moment where it's like, all right, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. And when they had that streak of losing, and it's like, all right, do we want to play in the postseason this year or do we not?
They kicked in.
It's probably what one of the guys had in the because if we do, we need to step it up, because this ain't cutting it. And the next thing you know, boom,
it's remarkable.
First place.
Absolutely remarkable. Both the Yankees and the Guardians